For years during the 70s and 80s, a serial murderer and rapist evaded the police, sending a town in panic. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm T. Chappelle. Decades later, the impacts of Timothy Kreitcher's attacks remain. Between 1977 and 1982, Kreitcher killed at least 9 women and raped many others.
Angel Ambrose is one of those rape survivors, and she spoke with us in 2018, nearly 40 years after she met who she calls her boogeyman.
What Kreitcher did was out of a movie, out of a horror novel, something that Stephen King would write. He is an evil man. He was a monster. He has always been my monster under the bed.
In 2007, DNA technology connected Kreitcher to those he killed.
But the family of one man argues Kreitcher is responsible for another life, that of Grover Thompson.
He died in prison for a crime he didn't commit, a crime that Kreitcher later confessed to.
Reporter Carly O'Keefe shows us how an innocent man is being rightfully remembered after his death.
Let the church say, Amen.
Voices raise in soulful song. In hopes of healing and finding peace.
For me, it's like full circle, you know, because I felt like God was telling me that I needed, you know, to get closure, you know, put Uncle Grover to rest.
In 1996, Grover Thompson was quietly interred in his final resting place in Chester, Illinois' Evergreen Cemetery. There was no funeral or burial service to honor his memory. In death, as in life, Thompson was confined, his cremated remains crammed in a small plot tightly packed alongside other unclaimed prisoners who died while doing time in Menard Correctional Center.
He's the Almighty God to take out of this world the soul of Grover Thompson. We therefore commit his body to the ground. Amen? Amen.
This is the first time any of Thompson's family has visited his grave. Likely the first time flowers have been laid upon it. And that's due in no small part to the fact that for decades, most of his family never even knew what happened to the uncle who'd crisscrossed the country visiting family near and far.
We just loved when he came. And then some years went past and we didn't see him. And my brother, my oldest brother, told us that they were saying that he had did something that he did not do.
Thompson's troubles began on Labor Day, 1981. He was on his way back to Mississippi from his sister's home in Milwaukee, but his bus stopped in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and Thompson's travels forever ended there because Mount Vernon police arrested him on charges of attempted murder.
There's such blatant racial discrimination in the way this case developed, and the fact that, oh my gosh, there's a black guy in the post office, he did it, and they went and got him. Along with the just series of abuses by particularly the police and then prosecutors.
It happened as Thompson was seeking shelter from the rain in the town's post office. He'd opted to wait for the next bus, as he told police he didn't like to travel at night. Meanwhile, directly across the street, serial killer and rapist Timothy Kreitcher was lying in wait in the bathroom of a basement apartment and attacked 72-year-old Ida White.
The first thing that comes to your mind is, how can justice be so heartless, man? To stop, not to stop, and say, wait a minute, did this guy do it?
Even with no physical evidence and only faulty witness testimony, a jury handed down a guilty verdict, and Thompson lost his freedom, spending the rest of his life behind bars.
His death was a calamity of errors and circumstances and wrong place, wrong time, and embellishments and lack of vetting witnesses' stories and all the things that came together that ended in tragedy. And an innocent man went to prison and died in prison for something he absolutely didn't do. And so, his life ended the way he knew it on Labor Day 1981.
In 2007, Kreitzer confessed to the crime, describing Ida White's apartment and the 1981 attack in great detail. Unfortunately, it was far too late to free Thompson. Nevertheless, the Illinois Innocence Project worked to posthumously clear Thompson's name.
This is about justice. This is about making something that was wrong and bad right.
And in 2019, Thompson became the first person in the United States ever to be exonerated after death due to innocence.
And for them to be able to come together and recognize Grover not at his worst, but hopefully at his best, in the sense of him being a free individual in spirit, but certainly declared innocent before the rest of the world.
Well, everyone here wishes Thompson could have walked out of prison free to travel again. His nephew says even in death, his power to unite his family lives on.
It took a long time for him to be exonerated, unfortunately, and it's still a bittersweet. He died an innocent man in prison, but his life has given birth to something great, and that's what's happening now. Reuniting as a family.
Labor Day 2026 will mark 45 years since Thompson's arrest. He served 14 years of a 40-year sentence before he passed away. In 2008, in his only media interview ever, Timothy Kreitzer said he'd like the family to know that Thompson was an innocent man. In Cape Girardeau, Missouri, I'm Carly O'Keefe.